The next workflow I'm going to run through is so this is a workflow I built for a personal coach and or a business coach, and this was a very similar scenario to the opportunity with you guys. He was brought to me by a marketing company or an agency, and he had no systems in place. He had no CRM. He had no way to consolidate communications with his clients. So that's what I built him. I built him a full HighLevel sub account, um, and he was selling a pretty high ticket service, personal coaching, business coaching, and a product attached to that. Um, and so these two, maybe maybe I'll run through this one first. So these two were part of his engagement strategy. Leads would come in through his Facebook ads. So his marketing team was running Facebook ads, and they were getting him just a ton of leads, so many leads. And I'm sure, as you guys know, qualifying and managing those leads can be a challenge. They weren't all of the highest quality of leads. Again, that's kind of out of my domain in this relationship, but he was just being inundated. So he had multiple issues of trying to keep up with the responses, trying to stay consistent and qualify those leads himself. And he was spending hours every day responding to these leads, asking these questions, and trying to make sure that it was actually worth his time to book a call with them. Um, so this is this again, this isn't active. This is in my sub account. So I just copied this over from a snapshot. So this is basically, they would come in from Facebook, and we wanted to move the conversation to over SMS. A bit more personal. That way we could justify capturing some information for re-engagement and remarketing later. But they enter this workflow. It's going to look to see if they have already booked a call with him, because that was the ultimate goal. Sometimes they would, have a link to his website, and they would go and book a call, even if they haven't really started engaging with us. So it checks for that first. If they have booked a call, which we add a tag to notify, it just removes them from this workflow. If not, we're gonna go and engage them. And so we're gonna send a kickoff message that says, "Hey, first name, saw your form come through on Facebook. Appreciate you reaching out. I've seen guys use this blueprint to pull an extra 5K within just a couple months. Want to see if it's fit for you." And so the point of that was to have a kickoff message that that seems personal. It seems like maybe the coach or the owner is responding himself, and then when they respond, we're on his account. I had a full AI agent built out to manage that conversation. So basically, we're sending that text. We're making sure his agent is active, and we're going to wait 2 hours to see if they respond. If they don't, we're going to send a nudge. So we're going to send another text and say, "Hey, just checking in. Want me to walk you through the first step?" And then a day. So this is, I think, over a span of 4 days, we send continual nudges. Just because the drop off after that, they're probably not going to convert and probably not gonna be a customer of his. But again, this is just an SMS campaign that welcomes a customer into his ecosystem, and then qualifies and routes them accordingly with an AI agent. I'll show you that in a second here. So this is a second workflow that we built to re-engage clients. So he had within a couple weeks he had a list of, I don't know, 700 customers or 800 customers, and some of them would fall through the cracks. He wouldn't respond to some of them. This is before we launched the last workflow, and some just wouldn't respond. So we wanted to just reach out again to really make sure that those have been an effort has been made um, to convert and get ultimately business out of them. But so it's going to check in condition to see if they've been engaged recently, and what that does is, if they've responded, I had another workflow that would add a tag, and that notes in the account that they've responded, and there's been back and forth communication within 7 days, and then once it hits the 7 day mark, it's going to remove that tag or renew it every time they respond. So If they've responded, we don't want them in this. We want to kick them out. We want him to maybe take over and respond himself, or maybe they're engaging with the AI agent. So if they haven't responded, we're gonna put them into a drip that we put a large batch size in. So it'll drip this over a period of time. It'll send a kick out message or kickoff message. Hey, it's Luke. You reached out before. I've got guys pulling extra 10K a month, and just 60 days. So kind of a hook. And then again, making sure the agent's active. So this is all hands off for him. This was automated because ultimately he was spending so much time on the admin, the engagement, and the qualifying that when he would get to a call, the guy's exhausted, and this isn't where the back and forth communication isn't where his skill set was best. It was in closing and in coaching. So this took this completely off his plate, and so all of these were collaborative with each other. The way I like to build is clear intent for each workflow. You can muddy and connect them in a single one, but I like to have classification and folders to separate them, so it's if something breaks or if something's wrong, you can go and clearly get to the manual re-engagement or get to the kickoff, kind of the outreach workflow.